Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The moment I saw the object in my boss's hand, my entire body turned cold. It was small, metallic, and unmistakably mine. My bracelet. The one I had lost 3 nights earlier. The one I had been desperately pretending not to think about. He held it between 2 fingers like evidence in a crime scene. And in that instant my throat tightened so hard I could barely breathe. I remember the music still playing behind me and soft ripples of laughter and clinking glasses. I remember my husband Adam turning toward me with a puzzled smile, not yet aware of the weight that had just dropped over the room like a silent curtain. And I remember my heart breaking before I even understood why. 3 hours earlier, everything had felt perfect. The ballroom glowed with warm lights that reflected off polished floors. My dress shimmered against my skin as I leaned into Adam's side, inhaling the familiar scent of cedar and soap that always made me feel safe. The party was meant to be stress-free, a company event full of polite conversations and light champagne. I told myself that tonight was my chance to breathe again after weeks of tension I could not explain. But even in those early moments something felt wrong. My phone buzzed twice, but when I checked the screen there were no notifications. I told myself it must have been a glitch. Adam kept asking if I was all right because he sensed the edges of my smile trembling. I squeezed his hand and assured him everything was fine. I lied to him with the gentle ease of someone drowning quietly under calm water. Then came the subtle glances from coworkers, the hushed whispers that stopped when I stepped near. A few people seemed strangely uncomfortable around me, their eyes full of questions I did not yet understand. I prayed Adam would not notice. I prayed nothing would unravel. Not here. Not tonight. My boss Marcus was supposed to be out of the country on a business trip. Everyone had mentioned it. Everyone believed it. Which is why, when the clock struck midnight and the ballroom doors pushed open with a slow creak, no one expected to see him walk in. Especially me. He moved through the room without breaking eye contact with me, his gaze sharp and unreadable. His suit was wrinkled, like he had rushed here without stopping to breathe. And in his hand was the one thing I wished I had never seen again. My bracelet. A wave of nausea curled through me as he stepped closer. Adam looked from Marcus to me and back again, his confusion growing into something harder, something heavier. I felt his fingers slip from my waist. Marcus stopped in front of us and held out the bracelet. His voice was low, almost too calm. His words sliced through the music and murmurs around us. I felt the room tilt. I took it to your place to return it. But you were not home. The world froze. My pulse hammered against my ribs like frantic fists. Adam's eyebrows rose slowly in disbelief as my mouth opened without sound. I had told Adam I lost the bracelet at work. I had told him it was nothing. Marcus continued speaking with the calm of someone who knew he held all the pieces. I found it in my office after you left that night. I tried calling you. I waited. You did not answer. People nearby grew still, pretending not to listen while listening to every single word. Adam whispered, "What night is he talking about?" My lungs burned. I searched my memory for a version of the truth that could save me. The night in question had been ordinary and yet not. I had gone to deliver files to Marcus. We had argued. Tension had been building for weeks. He had crossed boundaries with comments that left me feeling cornered. I had pulled away, trying to keep things professional. But somewhere along the line itself had blurred. I had walked out shaken, ashamed, unsure of how I let things get that close. I never told Adam because the guilt felt tangled and ugly. I convinced myself that silence was safer. Now silence had become my executioner. Adam stepped back as if struck. His voice trembled with anger and betrayal. Why did he have your bracelet? Why was he at your place? Why did you lie? I felt my heart open like a wound. I reached for him but he moved away, his eyes glistening with disbelief. Marcus watched us quietly, the faintest flicker of regret crossing his face. Or maybe it was victory. I could no longer tell. I told Adam everything. I told him the parts one had avoided even in my own thoughts. The discomfort. The boundary crossing. My fear of being misunderstood. My guilt for hiding the truth. My shame for letting the situation ever become something twisted in the eyes of others. Adam listened with his jaw clenched, his pain raw and undeniable. When I finished, the silence between us felt like shattered glass scattered across the floor. Marcus walked away without another word. leaving his damage behind like a shadow. Adam finally spoke with a voice so soft it nearly broke me. I could forgive mistakes, but not secrets. Secrets turn love into something fragile. He placed my bracelet back into my palm with trembling fingers, then turned and walked out of the ballroom. I stood there surrounded by music and laughter that no longer felt real, holding the cold metal that had ruined everything. And for the first time in my life, I understood how betrayal can happen long before a relationship breaks. It begins with silence. It ends with truth.